All right, hey, we're live. January 15th.
Yeah.
And this is Gravity Live, the weekly live stream we do. We're the Rogue Traders. And we always talk about what we do with Bitcoin, our predictions, our trading style,
And some geopolitics and some
and some other
theories.
Yeah, some completely irrelevant stuff. Talk about gold a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But today we actually have something to talk about because the last few broadcasts, the market was really stuck in a range. We've finally broken out.
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit to chat about. I realize I'm not sharing my screen, so let me go ahead and do that. Okay, there we go.
Vol surface there.
Okay, so let's just take a look here at the Gravity, the GRVT. And for all of you, or any of you that are new, my mouse, my I didn't play enough video games as a kid. My fine motor skills are just not there. We've got this breakout, but for any of you that are new to Gravity, it's a platform you can trade perpetual futures. You've got all kinds of contracts. I'll show you up here. You can, oh my God, you can trade all kinds of stuff. They've also got Pax Gold, which we talk about, which is here, Pax G USDT. So if you want to trade gold, there you go. You can do that in this way. And you can also invest. So if you go to the invest button at the top, you'll see we're not professionally managed. We're amateurs, I guess. But here we are, Rogue Trader Discretionary. We're at the top of the leaderboard, as always. So we've returned 14% this year. We're trading pretty lightly, cautiously. There hasn't been great trading.
No.
Let's be honest. For some people, maybe it jives with your style. Everyone's different, but this trading we haven't been putting heavy positions on because we didn't see the opportunity. However, we finally have a little bit of a breakout. Let me zoom way out here. Let me just go to I can go to a daily.
Yeah.
Maybe daily's too far out, to be honest. Are we still Bitcoin? Oh yeah, no, daily's too far out. Can't I see a 4 hour here?
I think it's hourly or daily. Yeah, got it.
There's a 4 hour. I just didn't have it saved as a favorite. That's all.
Okay.
So look, we were stuck down here. This is kind of November, right through December. December's often pretty quiet on all trading venues, and we were really stuck in this range. At the top, you could say sort of 93, 94 at the extreme. At the bottom was sort of mid 80s. Yeah. So if you're trading in a range, you sell the top and you buy the bottom. You just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. Every time you think it's going to go up, if you load up, you think it's going to go up, and you get hammered, it comes down. It gets pretty frustrating. A lot of people who play breakouts, that's a tough thing to do. You play this breakout to the downside, and you're right back up. So when you're in a range, unless you have a real good idea that something's going to happen and it's going to break out, and you load the boat, great. Otherwise, we just buy the bottom, sell the top, or maybe not the very top because you don't know what the top's going to be. And that's what we did here actually on this run up. We did make a bit. We're flat right now. We don't have a position right now, but we did. I thought it was showing our buy and sells in here. For some reason, it's not. I'm logged in. It doesn't matter. Point is we were long from, maybe 91 or 90 and a half, and we sold 92 and a half and 93 and a half. But we kept going up. So I thought, well, if we get a pullback, I'll just buy it. Is this going to keep running? And I think that's the question that everyone has is, okay, look, we have, this is where's the 100K mark, just so it's clear. 100K is right around here, right?
Yeah.
So there was a ton of short options in this mid to high 90s up to 100,000 because all this month, if you're an option seller, there is nothing to do. You're not going to get any value for options that are up at 120 or something. They would be worthless. So what's everyone doing? Well, they're selling kind of in this range, and they're selling down here in this range. So the market is going to, the market's going to move no matter what eventually. It's going to go up or down. But it's got to punch that liquidity. And, as it starts rolling through these options positions, people have to cover. And they're rolling them out, and that adds a bit more fuel to the fire. So I don't have an opinion if we're going to run up to 100K and beyond. It's possible. I don't know if you have an opinion on if we're going to keep going up or if we're going to drift back down to the range.
My view, my conspiracy theory is that there are two factors driving the market up. One is probably Iranian officials taking whatever dollars they've got left and converting them to Bitcoin just in case things go south. I don't actually think that Iran will fall. I don't think I think it's a fairly cohesive country, and I think the West is more optimistic than it should be about toppling the regime. Well, we call it regime; they call it government. But I think people will be. Iran's been cut off from the sort of global financial system, and the US is imposing embargoes and tariffs on anyone who trades with it. So the Iranian currency is worthless now, and in the global market, and the dollars in Iran are worthless because they can't buy anything with them in the short term. So it seems sensible to me that you would convert your dollars to Bitcoin, because gold's difficult to move and Bitcoin isn't.
So you're talking about the Iranians converting their currency to, but their currency has been worthless for a while.
No, not their currency. Any dollars that are in the country being used to buy Bitcoin just as a hedge. So I imagine there's a bit of that in this. And also we've heard rumours of the usual culprits, the Korean pump rooms. Getting on the back of it. So
yeah, well, they did have the news in Korea that public companies could invest in crypto, right?
Yeah, that's right. So there's been a kind of a double. I think a double catalyst here, and then that's gone through the open interest of options, and that's caused hedging, and so here we are. I think it's possible that we carry on up, probably not quickly. And I'm also interested to see, if you scale out, if you zoom out, then I'm not a massive chartist, but we are forming the mother of all head and shoulders in Bitcoin at the moment. If you go back further, back to the summer.
So let me go to maybe a 4-hour chart.
Yeah. You see
this here?
Well, there's the head. I need to point with the mouse. That's the head. Well, yeah. So there's a shoulder over here, just to the left. And there's a head here, and there's a shoulder kind of starting to form.
Okay, we should be looking at the daily, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know whether gravity goes back that far, because it's.
But
if you look on a longer term chart, then a chartist would tell you that we're forming a fairly serious head and shoulders that should eventually will take us up to, I don't know, 107 by. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, if you ignore that first little red line. So that should take us up to like 107 by about April, and then crash us down to 70k or even 20k thereafter. That's my amateur chartism.
All right. So. Well, the interesting thing is we got used to seeing big spikes in Bitcoin and then an immediate drop down. $2,000 or $3,000 up, then wham, right down immediately. So this is the first time it's done that, and it hasn't given up those gains. So it's got some sticking power.
It's only been 24 hours, but yeah, it has. I mean, we've had these bars in the market here and here, and where the market's gone up for 2 days and hung around and then come back down.
Straight down.
Yeah. The jury's still out, I think, on this. But it doesn't feel like it wants to sell off hard, right?
It doesn't, but Bitcoin's got a funny way of screwing with your mind. So I wouldn't, if it did push up to 100 and there's a lot of liquidity up there, and we'll take a look at the liquidation heat maps in a moment. I think that 107 or something would be pretty extreme, and I wouldn't be surprised because it's Bitcoin and it does stupid things.
I'm not expecting this like this week. I'm thinking, in a month's time.
Over the course of time, yeah. And that's fine for us option sellers because it gives us time to roll things and adjust or hedge. I don't know if there's enough oomph behind it as a catalyst to push it to 107 unless there's new. That's the thing with Bitcoin, is it's at risk of going down to 20,000 or up to 150,000 based on political and it gets added to a treasury or it gets hacked or there's a new best thing that comes. I don't know. It's technology and technology is vulnerable to other technology. Anyways, as on a trading perspective, I'm looking for a pullback. I'm kind of hoping we'll get back in here. I'll buy it and I'll flip it out as it goes back up because I'm still in range mode.
Yeah. If we get back to 92, I'll load up. I'll sell puts and buy futures and off we go.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, we're talking about options. Gravity does not yet have options. We can only trade the futures here. So on Gravity, I'll just be buying the dips and assuming this prior range is going to hold. I mean, this is massive support down here. So I'm perfectly happy. If it keeps going up, well, I guess I'm going to miss out on some of the run. I might buy Catalyst. If it punches like 98,000 or something, maybe I'll have some trigger orders. Some amount to get long. But
Well,
you know,
commenting on the bottom of the range, that 88 sort of bottom that we've got here. Being cynical about this, there's a lot of Bitcoin in the hands of a lot of wealthy people, and these guys aren't going to sell at a loss, right? If they didn't sell at 88 already, they're not going to sell now at 88. So they're going to wait for exit liquidity before they dump any Bitcoin. So they're going to be waiting for a push up above 100 before they offload, in my view. So I think unless we've burst through 100 and then come back down, I think if it drops down from here, it's a safe-ish buy. Yeah.
All right, that's what we're going to do. But that's what I'll be doing. And actually, I had to do some work on the account. And I had a bunch of orders here, which you would normally see, but I'd canceled them this morning, so I've got to put those back on. No rush though. It's holding up quite well. It's doing quite well. Yeah. Let's take a look at the liquidation heat map. Again, we're not using all these things as a definitive rule. It's just guidelines for us.
They bolster confidence. Yeah.
So here's the 24-hour liquidation heat map, and you can see most of the liquidity is up here around 98.
That's the one-day liquidity. Yeah.
24 hours. Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise us if we kept strong and we pushed up.
Yeah.
And once you're at 98, 100's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
And here's the 3 days. Sort of same thing. We're up 98 and then down here at 93, 94.
93's got more. And actually, if you go out to I think a week or a month,
let's take a look at a week here.
There's a fairly big target below us at about 90, which is kind of consistent with our view of 88 being a base, right?
Yeah. So if it comes down into here, we'll be joining this. We'll be buying it up. We'll be soaking it up. And again, there is a chance we still might punch higher because that's the sort of current trend. But
it's entirely possible that some news comes out about the impending attack against Iran, which causes the market just to dump $5,000 immediately.
So we'll take a quick look at the max pain. This is for options. So here we've got this is the 30th of this month. So end of January. Max pain is at $90,000
interesting.
for expiry.
Yeah.
And then if we look at March, which is the quarterly expiry, we've got 8.73 billion at 95. So we're really not. There's nothing extraordinary here screaming to me, oh my gosh, we better be careful, we're going to do this. I think that we're probably going to end up staying fairly range bound. We might not take a deep dive down. Maybe we'll only come down to 94 or 93 in extreme. I don't know, but that's telling me that there's no extremes on either side. So if it's going to push up, there's going to be some sort of a catalyst, and fine, we'll just deal with it. But as far as the options are concerned, nothing bothering me right now.
What's interesting to me is if you look at the volume graph, there's been increased volume on Gravity since December.
Yeah, so in January it really picked up. Even when things were flat, the volume really picked up there. A lot of these big spikes, I didn't notice that. That's again, every platform is going to be different. This is Gravity. Let's take a look at the options side of things here with Immersive Finance.
Yeah, so the colourful lines, the blue line is Bitcoin, and the colourful lines are the implied volatilities at the various different tenors. So 1 week, 2 weeks, and 1 month. The ones that are interesting to me. And what's interesting is that on the 5th or 4th, 5th, and 6th of January, as the market pushed up to 94, the implied volatilities increased. So people started sort of buying options more than selling them. That implied volatility died down, and then in this last spike up in spot, the options market hasn't really reacted.
Yeah,
which is interesting to me, right? So that's actually telling me that no one's really under pressure. If they've done any hedging they've already done, and probably large holders of Bitcoin are happy to sell covered calls on their Bitcoin. And if they're in the money on those covered calls, they probably don't really care. They'll just keep on rolling those covered calls at the same strike, and eventually they know that the market will come down. They'll get all their cash, and they'll be quite happy. So that's my reading of that. And if you look at then the 25 delta risk reversals, which is the fifth column, that one there, 25 delta risk. So that's the difference between put and call pricing at 25 delta. It's a fairly good indicator that we're in sort of normal downward biased. So people tend to be prepared to pay more for puts than for calls, or rather they're selling more calls than they are buying puts. But not so huge degrees. And no, people are cautious. They're hedging the downside, selling the upside, but aren't really frightened.
Yeah.
And then the 10 delta risk reversal at the end, the 10RR, is a measure of how at the extremes how prepared people are to hedge the downside.
Yeah.
Not really. Right?
Yeah, and these are way out of the money. So right now they're when the market rips up and everybody's freaking out and it's going up, puts get cheap. So if you want to buy cheap downside protection, if you have an options account, now might be the time to do it.
And that's a. I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about in terms of options trading. I'm just saying that the options market is saying that sentiment is like this, right?
Yeah.
The sentiment is mildly bearish, which is normal. That doesn't mean it's bearish. It just means it's normal. People aren't expecting up or down.
Yep.
And also, interestingly, the funding rate. Deribit is a fairly good indicator that people are not being forced to buy calls to hedge not being forced to buy futures to hedge short calls. So there's actually, despite the big move, there's actually very little pressure in the options market.
Yeah, it's like nobody's really too concerned about this. Everybody's pretty blasé about it. I don't know if you can see this, but the funding rate here is zero, which means that nobody's paying up.
So you may as well hold perps as Bitcoin.
Yeah. One quick thing here, we'll take a look. So I don't know if we want to recap, but we can recap later. We want to look at metals.
Yeah.
Just because. So here, this is the February. I'll probably have the March contract. So this is the February futures contract for gold. This is 3 months, so we can see, a pretty aggressive up move. Does this have the? Oh yeah, here's silver. I put silver. This is the March contract for silver. Look at this.
Insanely aggressive. It's
parabolic.
Double in a month.
And some people say, well, hey, there's this flight to safety. You see it in the metals. And could we say we're seeing it in Bitcoin? Maybe. To some degree, it could be. Yeah. I was saying to you this morning when you came into the office, I said, if I was sitting there and I was worried and I wanted to get out of currency, I might think Bitcoin is the better value just because
it hasn't ripped.
It hasn't had this massive. You don't feel like you're buying the top. You don't necessarily with gold and silver because Bitcoin's been much higher than this.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, in Asia, I'm told by my friends who live there that there are massive queues outside gold and silver shops. People are just converting all the money they've got into precious metals, which I think is a very laudable thing to do. I think I'm a huge precious metals guy. I think gold is the only money. But yeah, housewives are not using all their money to buy Bitcoin like they used to. I think that's just a measure of Bitcoin has kind of matured and it's kind of been adopted by the financial system a bit more, and different kinds of institutions and people buy Bitcoin these days than what they did. I think gold and silver are very much in vogue, and I think the word is getting out and people are starting to sort of get to the euphoric phase. Not to say that silver isn't going to put on another $100 an ounce, but when it does, the blow off top will be epic.
Yeah, and I see that the CME introduced a new contract this week for 100 ounces. Yeah, a standard contract was 5,000, and they did have a 1,000 ounce contract at one time. So which is considered a micro back then, but the price of silver is a lot lower. So you can see if they're doing 100 ounce, the price of silver is going way up.
But be careful of that if you're going to trade it, because it's not backed by silver. It's actually a CFD.
Oh, okay. Contract for the difference.
It's cash settled.
Yeah, cash settled. Yeah.
So it's actually paper silver. So the CME's response to there being 300 contracts per ounce of silver is to add more contracts.
That's like a bank, increasing the fraction of fractional reserve banking. All right. So
and I actually saw that is it last night? People at the end of the day they're smashing down the silver price. People are mass selling futures out of hours. They did it last night, so the silver price got crushed after the exchange closed.
After everything closed, yeah.
And all the conspiracy theorists on X are saying that this is the banks trying to smash down the price because they're desperate to, get rid of their shorts and so on.
Yeah, and too with the silver market, you have to be aware that the metals market closes earlier than traditional markets. So if you're trading SLV, which is an ETF, that closes at a later time. So you've got these different time frames and different interests in these different time frames. And then when the U.S. closes, then you go into the Asian session,
right,
and they do their own thing. All right, so here's the rundown.
We discussed last week about buying some Pax Gold in the book. I guess we didn't do it.
I put some orders down lower, but there was no pullback, so I wasn't aggressive on it. What I'm looking for? Well, I'm looking for the price to come down to here, and I'm perfectly happy to load the boat down in this area. The other thing is okay, well, if it keeps going up, you're going to miss the trade. Well, fair enough. All right, well, if it keeps going up, if we start pushing up in this area here above 98, well, it just seems logical that we're probably going to press 100 because they've got to put that pressure on. I'm happy to buy a breakout here, but I won't do so super aggressive. I'll buy some, fine. And if it comes down and I decide to either get out or average into it, I don't care. It's not going to make a big difference. But if I do buy it, I'm not just going to flip it out here. I'll wait and see if it can really run 100 and sell it at 102, 103, 104, something on an extreme. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm more inclined just to, I'll layer in a whole bunch of bids all the way down to the mid-80s. And if you want to come and push it down here, I am happy. Remember, we had that liquidation heat map. This is where the liquidity is, right? We've got some here, and it could bounce off here and go back up. There could be some trades in there. But really, if it wants to breach 90, I'm all over it. A lot of people, some people might be panicking. I don't know. Other people might not be. But that's where I think we'll be buying in. We're quite happy to accumulate there.
I think 88 is a fairly good psychological base to work off here.
Yeah, and who knows if it'll get that deep? It might not even get down there.
I don't think so. But I think that's I think that's the level at which whales are going to buy it. If nobody else is buying it.
Yeah, and the other thing that we'll mention, if we do push down to 88s, I'll be happily selling put spreads down in the low 80s or 80-75 put spread, whatever, to generate some income selling options. On the option side, again, I don't want to go too far into it because Gravity doesn't have options yet. If we push above 100, I've got short options up here.
Yeah.
I'll adjust them and roll them, no problem. But I'll probably aggressively be selling like 110, 115 spreads a month out, something like that.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? It's free money.
Yeah, because the skew will be on the upside if it goes down. But I'm not selling puts as we're ripping up here. I'll wait because I think it's probably going to be a pullback, and we'll sell some puts down there.
But if we do touch 105, 107, then I would become very cautious about how big the downside could get.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. If you're not trading options, if we do get up to that sort of an extreme level, and maybe it'll take a week or two or a month,
or two,
I think I'm happy to short it,
Yeah.
looking for a move back down to the 100,000 area at least. I think that would be sort of the general strategy. But let's see what happens this week. We've got earnings, a lot of earnings. The traditional markets have been very weak this week. So let's see what happens with Bitcoin. Metals are going crazy. All these things affect it. And we'll just see if we can pick up some trades for next week and increase our ROI. All right, that's it for this week. We'll catch you next Thursday.